As you know, we are a minority shareholder on SPP. But the accountability of that 9,000, even though we have requested, it's not been communicated to us. That's a matter of concern for us as Fishcor. Because for all the quotas that you receive, in terms of our governance, it has to be accounted for. So that's a matter that is still pending with us. Lobster, if I'm not mistaken, was about 840 metric tons. That was in December. The lobster in the industry. So we have worked hard with respect to that. Because the essence of the story is not really about the quotas that is the concern in Nigeria. It's the utilization of those quotas and the proceeds and sales of those quotas in an accountable and responsible fashion. And that for us as Fishcor is very important. Given that nature, I have to admit that the seaflower whitefish did encounter an industrial relations activity in December, January. You might have seen the press statement I have issued. But it was to take care of the employees. Employee sustenance is key for us. And indeed, with that quota that I have indicated to you in terms of the hike, we have in time attend to that through the proceeds of sale of those quotas. And we have also then secured the employment, given the prevailing conditions of retrenchment in the country, the employment of over 820 employees, over 800 in low grades. Now there was a concern nature for us as well. As Fishcor, as I said, we care about employees. And there were 655 employees in the SPP. And we were asking ourselves, what happened to them? When we made a fact-finding mission in October, we realized that those employees were actually retrenched. They were without jobs. Some were no work, no pay conditions. Some are paying a meager salary of 100 Namibia, which is actually very much disheartening, to say the least. And because of that, we had to find an alternative route of how do we ensure that those employees really are employed. And hence our engagement of TUNACO, that December you might have read, and also hence our resolve. There are only 3 companies: House Margaret, Gendef, TUNACO, and SPP. And hence, by its own necessity, and to secure the employees of 650, we were able to secure for them employment. It's a positive development, because we were able not to retrench any workers to date. Of course, there are challenges, and I'm quite sure there will be questions coming from with respect to that. The CEO position and the interest, the huge interest that this position is actually generating. And sometimes actually I'm very surprised that the information feed that is provided by the distinguished members of the media is sometimes not informative. But I want to inform the development of concerning that. The post was advertised in November. In fact, the closing date was on the 27th of November, 2020. We are conscious of the sense of the CEO, the interest that it generated. And taking into account the results that happened in December and January, we were only able to start to focus on this matter in the mid-January. It was around the 14th of January, 2020. And we have undergone actually a very intensive, how can I say, in the human resource language, they use it as long listing. Yeah? compile all. And based on that, the board has taken its own full responsibility, of course, of the support of the Human Resource Department at Fishcor, to have appraised on those who applied, looked at the minimum requirements that that position has, the qualifications, the experience, the exposure in the fishing industry, as per the advert it was advertised. And we have appraised, therefore, and has not shortlisted, has appraised then on looking at the board directive of the psychometric assessment of 9 candidates that has been identified. 9. Now already the media say, no, this one will be employed. But it's 9. We have not yet shortlisted anyone. And based on that psychometric assessment, which will actually be completed this week.
Tomorrow.
Sorry, ma'am?
Tomorrow, in fact.
Tomorrow, in fact. We are busy, to be honest, with due respect. Tomorrow. Then only will we then shortlist. And normally, as you know, some of your distinguished members of the media already wrote to me to say how many five people are already shortlisted. I was just wondering, where does the number come from? But of course, we cannot just provide a number. It can be 1, it can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But we cannot provide a number, but the point is that we will shortlist. And then the interviews, in fact, will be held shortly, during this month, on those who are shortlisted. So that's a transparent and objective provision of the information, and it's in line with the Human Resource Policy of Fishcor. And we hope that we complete this appointment of the Chief Executive Officer by March 2021. And as you know, even though the board has identified a candidate, there is a procedure that you have to go through when it concerns the CEO position. And there is nothing untoward to it. Please. There's nothing untoward. There's no foul play. It's transparent. It's objective. It's integral. And I know that you have been asking me questions, and I beg your indulgence that I did not respond in a timely fashion. But it's all also to do with the process and the procedure that we have to undertake. Because some of them needs to mature for me to respond, because you were a little bit ahead of the information feed than me, for example, who is in charge of the information. The freezing of the accounts, as you are aware, we also is in this position whereby the Bank of Namibia has blocked the accounts of Fishcor in terms of Regulation 22A(1)(b) of the Exchange Control Regulations of 1961. Because the bank has reasonable grounds to initiate its investigations powers as it relates to the violation of the Exchange Control Regulations of 1961. The board hereby fully acknowledges the organs of state. That's not only the Exchange Control but the Financial Intelligence Center, as you know, also the Anti-Corruption Commission, in terms of the investigation, and suffice to add that we offer our full cooperation with relevance to the applicable laws on the provision of the requisite information request in order to assist with the full maturity and the completion of the investigation. In conclusion, I want to assure the media and the public that we are really trying to reorient and changing the positive narrative of Fishcor as a corporation, or enhancing the positive narrative of Fishcor as a corporation. We all know that it's currently at the center of the interesting and sometimes undesirable development.